Hey, in this video, and almost in this video series, I'm going to be talking about how to price your work and how to quote. And I'm going to do it at three very distinctive levels of business. So we're going to look at how to price for a local cafe or restaurant for a food shoot, an independent, someone who's not a chain. Then we're going to look at how to price for perhaps a small ad agency, a local ad agency, if you're not in London or Paris, wherever it may be. If you live in another city, ad agencies there don't get the same level of work as London and Paris and New York. So they have a slightly different budgeting system. So then we're going to look at what they need. And then we're going to look at how to market to a big ad agency or to a big client if you're working direct with them. We're going to be looking at license, billing, rentals, the whole lot. And in this specific video, we're going to be looking at the high end first. Now, there are higher ends than the high end I know of. I am not at the pinnacle of photography. I shoot at a level where I am known to be good. I am not known enough that if you have work shot by me, that it's a thing. Like if Annie Leibovitz shoots your campaign, you tell people about it. When I shoot someone's campaign, no one knows I've done it. So that's sort of where I live in this world. Now, some of the numbers we're going to talk about here seem astronomically high. However, there's a lot that goes into this. And I mean, to start with, I've been doing this for nearly 15 years, which has built up to this point here. This is not the sort of thing, if you're starting out today, that you're going to achieve in the next couple of years. But I do think it's important to know what is there. So when you're looking at people's studios and you go, how on earth have they got 6 full frame DSLRs in there just for behind the scenes stuff? It's because of the costing here. Why are they shooting on a £75,000 camera? It's because of this. All these things where you go, what? How have they got such expensive gear? Because I remember looking at it going, they've got £500,000 of broncolor packs in there. How on earth can they afford that when I'm struggling to get people to pay me £1,000 a day? I'd have to work every day for the rest of my life. And then it starts to become apparent. So there's two numbers here. One is the gross and one is the profit. The profit is your salary, your wage, what you live on. Mine's particularly frugal. I wear 10 black t-shirts, 5 white shirts. These cost £2 each. My shirts cost £20 each. I've got 2 pairs of jeans that are pretty cheap, one stitched together by my partner. Not particularly well stitched together, but they're stitched together nonetheless because the crotch keeps breaking, which is probably disgusting, I don't know. Anyway, I don't have a particularly elaborate lifestyle. My car costs less than most of my lenses. I don't really lust for sort of physical items. So the profit I make is very negligible. It's not something I really need. I don't get any joy out of money, bizarrely. But when you look at my studio, you see all this fancy kit and people are like, how do you afford it? That's business stuff. That's my business's equipment. That is things that I need to get my job done. If I wasn't a professional photographer, I'd probably own a Leica, a 24mm, 35mm and 50mm, a fridge full of film, and that'd be it. I wouldn't have social media, I wouldn't have websites, I'd just take pictures for fun. That's how I'd see it. But I'm not. It's my profession, it's my career, it's my job. Hopefully it's going to be my future. So let's talk about that. So I'm going to jump onto the computer and I'm going to show you how I'd go about this. Now, this is all fictitious, obviously. Once lockdown's over, I'm going to do these videos again and actually execute the shots as well and show you exactly how we do them. I'll see if I can find a client who's willing to let me do this. That's probably highly unlikely, but I can certainly do a test shoot and try and make it seem like it's for a client. Okay, let's get into this. Now, I've sort of got things open as we go. This is generally how it goes. And this here is just like it's a high-end advertising shoot. I'm going to do separate videos for mid-level, beginners, and also how to price like a restaurant food shoot. But here we go. Dear agent. In my case, that's Graham. And let's say Graham, but I wouldn't say dear agent. I'm just making it universal. We have an opportunity that your client may be interested in. Now, as you watch the other videos I do on this, the word opportunity means very different things at different points in your career. When you're starting out, it means you're about to get fleeced. But when you're more established, it means there's something good coming your way. So an opportunity is always good. Our client is a supermarket chain. They won't tell you who it is until you've signed the DNS, which is a disclaimer form. And we're looking to shoot 3 images of large flat lays for our Christmas campaign. Christmas campaigns are big campaigns. We shoot them just in the middle of the summer. It's a big show. We want to show families of different sizes having Christmas dinner with different sets. So already we know 3 shots in a day is going to be a big amount of work. So we might have 5 people at one family, 2 at another, and then a family of 15 is going to be big. We've taken care of set design with a company we regularly work with. I spelled regularly wrong. Let's ignore that. Regularly? Work with and the props, and they want to shoot it in my studio. So they're going to bring people in to build it in my studio. This already tells me one thing, and that is we're going to need a day for deliveries and a day for clear up, because there's no way we're getting it all done in one day. So that's 3 days of my studio being used. The images are for a marketing campaign, ATL, above the line, with use on web as well as billboard, magazine, and also expos. So these are the things they definitely know, but they'll often put in extras because there might be some mail shots, some brochures. You never know where they're going to use it, especially with a big campaign. We would like 2 years use of all print media. Now, often they'll only use it for one. For Christmas, they'll do one each year, but sometimes they want a bit of extra just in case they overrun for whatever reason. The print media is for EU, European Union, as well as social media and website usage included in the quote. Kind regards, ad agency. Now, usage-wise, everyone calls it slightly different things. Even within one ad agency, 2 people might say this. It's a bit of a thing. But here we go. Here's what we know. We're going to need 3 days of my studio. One for the set to be delivered, built, because there's no way they're paying for a full crew to stand around whilst they're building. They're going to need a day for pack down, day for shooting. It's going to have to be incredibly high resolution. They're also going to want the best of the best. So at this point, we start to look at what do we need to execute the shoot. So we're going to need a high resolution camera, a backup high resolution camera. We're going to need a lot of light. To light a big scene like this, we're going to need a lot of light in there. We're going to need some big pro packs, some good heads. We're going to need to rent some gear in. And I'm going to go through all of this as we get into it. So at this stage, I'll go back to my agent and I'll say, sounds good, love to do that. Let's see what we can do. Let's build a quote. We'll send the quote over and let's see where we get to. So if I go into my numbers thing, I don't have a set form for this. Some people have like set documents, but I find that each shoot is so different. It just doesn't work like that. Now, photographer, that's me. I put my day rate in here and that's my day rate for 1 day. Now at the bottom, I'm going to add building days. I'm going to put, because there's 2 building days, I need to be here, it's my studio, £1,200. That's £600 per day. It's the same as travel days. You half your day rate for days when you're not shooting, but you can't be doing anything else. Studio hire, they need 3 days of my studio. For the mess they're going to make, I'm going to charge them £400 a day. So 4, 8, 12. You see, my maths is like mental arithmetic, not my strong point, which is why we use spreadsheets. Camera hire we'll get back to. So prop stylist, 400. Food stylist number 1, 400. Food stylist number 2, we're going to need 2 of them for this job because it's a lot of food. It's cooking for 15. I'm actually going to put in a home economist as well. And they sort of prep the food to be styled. Okay, so there's those items in there. License fee we'll get back to as well. Retoucher, I'm going to put down £800 for retouching. It's 3 massive images. It's going to be a nightmare. Digital tech, we must have a digital tech on this shoot. The digital tech's job is to make sure the capture is working correctly. They'll be sat at the tether station, they'll be zooming in, checking my focus, checking my exposure, making sure I've not knocked my camera settings. I don't tend to look at the images whilst I shoot on a big job. I tend to let somebody else tell me they're right and correct. I can see what I'm framing through the viewfinder, and then I'll come and have a look now and again. But whilst I'm shooting, I don't want to be looking back at a screen every few minutes. So digital tech, we'll put in 350 there. A runner. We're going to need a runner on this, whether it's emptying the bins, making coffee, whatever it may be, and we'll pay them £200 for the day. Assistant 2, 250. Assistant 1, 250. Assistant 1 will be my right-hand man. I say man because I know it's a man because I know who it is. And they will be stood next to me, holding my camera, taking my camera from me when I'm finished shooting, making sure the batteries are fresh, they're charged, making sure everything for me personally is running well. Assistant 2 will be running around, getting the lights in place, making sure we're not overloading sockets, all that really like mundane stuff, but it has to be done. So that's how they sit in there. So what we're going to do at the bottom here is going to do sum equals, this is where I forget how to do, it's equals sum, isn't it? Equals sum. There we go. So this is our total at the moment. Right, let's go and look at the equipment we need. Now, you might be thinking, why would they pay for your cameras? Why would they pay for my cameras? Well, there's 2 things in here, and when you see the mid-level one, you'll understand. I own cameras, I own decent cameras. I've got Carl Zeiss optics, tilt shift lenses, good lights, got some Broncolor heads, got some Bowens heads, got some nice modifiers, beautiful lenses, got some good stuff. but I don't have multiple £70,000 cameras, and no one expects you to. And even if I was using my stuff, I'd still bill them camera hire because they're using my kit and battering it, and they can pay for that. That is a cost I will pass on to them. Now, you're not going to pass this cost on to your local restaurant. If you go, it's £1,200 plus £500 to use my cameras, they'll be like, what the hell? What's this for? But at this particular level, it's acceptable. Now, in some countries, you can do some things like set up a separate business, which is your studio and camera equipment, and you then rent that from that separate business to be tax efficient. It varies from country to country, whether it's legal or just like downright moody. But there we go. Let's jump in to the rental place, and let's get our calculator ready as well, shall we? So we'll get back to that one in a second. Here we go. This is the Flash Center. These are my guys. These are the people I go to when I need something and I don't know what it is I need. And this is their rental fee. I do not mark up rental fees. I don't mark up anything, actually. Assistant one, if I'm billing $250 to the client, they're getting paid $250. If they let me bill them $300, they'll get paid $300. Never skim off the staff. You'll notice that I will be the highest line item in here. It is not fair that I make money off their work because they'll be working damn hard on the day. Now, let's get our calculator out. So we need a Phase 1 IQ1 back, and we're going to need it for the day. They deliver it the day before, and it goes back the day after. We need 170, and we need a backup, because if that goes south, we're in real trouble. 170. We need a couple of Phase 1 cameras, so that's £50 for 2 of those. And then we need our lenses. We need the 45mm 2.8, but we want... Where's the one we want? Here we go, the blue ring one, £33 a day. So it's very affordable. I say that as it hits nearly £400. We're going to need maybe a 55 as well, just in case that one's too big. So plus 28 in there. It's 451. And we will add an 80 just in case we really need that gooey sort of look. So add 28. So that's camera 479. Let's go down to lights. Now, I've got a vision in my head of what this is going to look like. We're going to need a couple of things. We need some big indirect softboxes. We need some gridded heads. So we don't want continuous lights. We want, where are they? Studio flash lighting. 2400 RX packs. These are the generator packs, and they cost... Oh, they've got broncolor stuff now. No, we'll stick with the Ellen because we know what we're doing there. Let's not get excited and get ahead of ourselves. Where were we? 2500 heads. I've moved the whole thing. Oh, this is bad. There we go. £35, £70. Yeah, let's go for 4 of those, so 140. One's bound to not work. Okay, then what do we need next? We need some heads. We want the action heads, because people might be moving. We'll just round up to 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 200, 10 heads. Yeah, £200, I'll do it. Okay, that's 819. Now we need the modifiers. Where are they hiding? These are always really cheap to hire, so what I tend to do is order everything. Now we might want an octa. I don't normally use octas for food, but we're going to have people involved in this, so let's add £20 for that. Okay, then we're going to definitely need... Where do they hide these bad boys? Portalite softboxes, not those. Rotalux. 1x1s. Right, I'm going to add £100 of modifiers. I'm not going to bore you with it, but I'm going to go for the gridded softbox as well, so we can really sculpt the light. Go for some spill kills and grizz. Let's put £200 in for modifiers. Where are we up to? £1,039. Won't bore you with the 1,039. That's my camera hire. Now, this is the next bit where we make our money. And after this, I'm going to explain to you how this all sits and what we actually get from the end of it. Because at the moment, it looks like I'm making £8,000. I'm obviously not, because there's a lot of crew to pay in here. So let's go back to the Tinterwebs. And let's go into this. Set BUR. That's your day rate. £1,200. Set a period, they want 2 years. And this is the AOP. If you just Google AOP calculator, this is brilliant. Set media. They want all print media. And as well, we're going to digital. They want company website. And they want social media. Now we need to set territory, which is where it's going to happen. And it's European Union only. And then we come up with a number here, which is £18,000. That is the license fee. Now, whether we get that or not is a different question. There might be some negotiations going on around there, and it might end up slightly smaller. So we're now up to £26,000. However, let's just do a quick look here at what we're not actually getting. So the home economist, that's not us. The camera hire, that's going straight to a rental house because I don't own that kit. So let's start taking these items away. That's mine, that's not. Now you could do your own retouching. I'm just not a good retoucher. That's not me. Definitely not that. I'm certainly not doing this. I won't be assisting myself. So £21,600 is what I'll actually be seeing from this, which still sounds like a lot. However, I've got my studio costs, I've got my cost of running business, my insurance. I'm almost certainly going to end up losing some money on food and drinks and all the rest of it. Although obviously that's not a lot compared to £21,000, but also my agent or anyone's agent, they will be taking a cut between 15 and 30%, which can be significant. Now, you obviously don't have to do many big shoots a year. When people are like, oh, you're not very busy at the moment. It's like, well, if I'm doing a big shoot, there's not as many of them and I don't do them as often. Now, this is a particularly big production. This is probably at the limits of what I'd be shooting. There's not much bigger than this for me, but for other photographers, these numbers might be running well over 6 figures. And I know for a fact that some shoots hit 7 figures. But this is like your jobbing commercial photographer business plan or business rates and the way we price these things. Now, we'll go back to them on this. And I know for a fact that at the moment in the UK, people are not paying AOP calculator prices. This number here will probably go down to 12. You know, and it's still £15,000 for 3 days of work, but then you're going to have a few days beforehand, a few days afterhand. So it's a week's job really for the day shooting. It's a good amount of money. Obviously, a lot of this just disappears into business costs. Studio rental here is high. You know, I've got my internet, that's like £100 a month. I've got my insurance things. It racks up. My monthly overheads are huge. Let me take a sip of water because I'm getting a bit of a dry throat. So at this stage, we go back to them. We give them a quote. Now, I never see this part because my agent does it, but you'd send them a quote, a nice document. And at the point, oh, hang on, I'm getting Instagram messages. At the point that you get your, we call it is it a POS? At the point where you get your purchase order, there we go. At the point where you get your purchase order number through, that's sort of the, we're good to go. Now, I know in the States, everyone's very contract heavy and litigious, but we tend to go, here's what we agreed to do. They'll go, here's a purchase order for your agreement. Let's crack on. There's no signing of contracts or documents. You know, I'm sure when the shoots get to huge numbers there is, but at this sort of level, absolutely not. So I hope that's been of use to you in there. I've sort of gone through what I do, how I do it. You know, if you're looking at this and you're trying to get restaurants to pay you £500 at the moment, you're probably going, how on earth is this ever obtainable? But it happens slowly. And then one day, you know, you're charging £500 a day, £250 for a restaurant or cafe shoot. Then someone goes, we've got £1,000 photography budget. You're like, wow, this is big. You do that for 5 years, 6 years. And someone goes, we've got £10,000 for you. And you go, that's a lot more than I'm used to getting. We'll do that for a bit. And then someone goes, we've got £30,000 for you. And it sort of, it ebbs and flows. It goes up and it goes down. But it's not a quick overnight fix. Sending a quote like this won't get you the work. But likewise, if a client like this comes to you and you go in really cheap, they won't book you. They're not looking for cheap. Restaurants and local cafes maybe, but these people, this shoot here is probably costing them millions, you know, in terms of the staff costs that there and the agency costs, the design that's gone into it, the research, the market research, the bringing the products to life, making them from scratch, getting the recipes, getting them signed off, getting them tailored, all this stuff which goes into Christmas. And to get to this point, it's been extremely expensive. So when they're paying me £15,000 or gross £15,000, all of that is on my shoulders because I'm the one but last link in the chain. After me, the designer gets it and it's printed. That's it. And it's always running late by the time it comes to me. They're never ahead of schedule when they need the photo shoot. So the pressure is always there. Every time I finish a shoot, I am ill the next day, guaranteed. And if it's a 7-day shoot, I'm fine for all of those 7 days, travel home if I'm on location or go home from here, fall asleep, wake up in the morning feeling like death. I cannot do this level of shooting regularly. It's not something you can do every day. If I did this every day for a year, I'd be dead at the end of it. If I did it twice a week for a year, I'd probably die. If I did it once a week, definitely shorten my life, might make it through though. But this is a very different world to a lot of photography. There's things which go into it which I'd love to show you, which hopefully once lockdown's lifted I can. So if you want to see all the nitty gritty bits about this, how we execute the shoot, how we use the equipment, what we use, and all that sort of stuff, do hit subscribe because I'll be going through all of that as soon as lockdown is lifted. But at the moment, doing it by myself is it's a task I don't want to take on. Anyway, I hope you're keeping well, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.